Is it about time we call the Durham report exactly what it is? A dud? Like, okay, Michael Sussman went to trial. They weren't allowed to talk about certain things, and he ended up getting off scot-free. Cool. Where are the rest of the people? Okay, heads are gonna roll. Okay, he went through all this rigmarole. It seemed like, oh my god, there's actually gonna be something that's in there. And then it just produces nothing. The only thing that's happened is a whole lot of money was spent, and nobody's really sure what's actually going on. Sure, we figured out, guess what? There was an FBI informant on the payroll that ended up financing the Steele Dossier. Sweet, we knew it was already discredited. What else you got for us? Not much. Okay, and now you have other legal procedures and underlying actions getting timed out and outlasting their validity. It's not really coming up with much, but I guess they just kind of put a bow on this, unless anything's going to be coming out. Like, I haven't heard word one about this in a very, very, very long time. Probably since the Sussman trial, and that was Johnny Depp Amber Heard was still going on, so that would have been, what, late May? Early June? Like, it's been a minute, and nothing. And nothing. Special counsel John Durham filed a pretrial motion in limine on September 13th. Ooh, cool. So something before a trial. How adorable. On September 13th, in his false statements case against Igor Danchenko, the primary subsource of Christopher Steele's dossier on Donald Trump. Danchenko, who was charged with 5 counts of lying to the FBI about his sources for the dossier, had earlier filed a motion to dismiss the charges against him. The same playbook that Michael Sussman filed, okay? And again, you have Danchenko here, the primary source on the Steele dossier. You had Michael Sussman being the guy who relayed the information to the CIA about Russiagate and him getting off scot-free. Weird. Motions in limine are routine motions that are used to determine what evidence may and may not be used in a trial. Danchenko's trial is scheduled to begin next month. Okay. However, Durham's motion is anything but routine and contains a series of stunning revelations about Danchenko. Listen, I would love to be able to be excited or even intrigued by this, but again, this is just not proving to be anything of merit, of note. Okay, it's just some white collar activity. Cool, bet. Is anything going to end up happening because of it? No. This is just going to be the fall guy. Anybody who actually was pulling the strings behind the scenes, are they ever going to face justice for what they did? Absolutely not. Perhaps the most stunning disclosure is that Danchenko was given confidential human source CHS status from the FBI in March of 2017. Wow, the FBI's corrupt. Cool, imagine that. Another one on the mounting reasons why the FBI should be disbanded. Notably, this was after Danchenko was had disowned the Steele dossier in January of 2017 FBI interview, having admitted that it was based on gossip and rumors. Yeah, and then it continued to flourish for how long? Oh, right, up to this very day. Given the admission, there was no legitimate reason to extend the protection of CHS status to Danchenko, who no longer had any bona fide value to the FBI's investigation into alleged Trump-Russia collusion. In fact, the FBI's investigation ought to have ended as soon as Danchenko disclosed the true provenance of Steele's reporting. Yes, well, this is the take that you would adopt if you believed that the world should act on shoulds, coulds, and woulds instead of what is. I tend to find myself in the latter camp, but this guy finds himself in the former. The FBI's goal in giving Danchenko the highly coveted CHS status appears to have been to take Danchenko off the grid. As a CHS, Danchenko enjoyed special protection and privileges in certain areas. Okay, let's not just pretend that this is just, patron saint status here. Crucially, the FBI was not able to use his status to conceal Danchenko and his disclosure from congressional inquiries, such as the investigation into then Representative Devin Nunes, led by Kash Patel. Other inquiries, such as Freedom of Information Act requests, could similarly be stonewalled by the reference to the sources and methods justification for concealing the identity and even the existence of a CHS. The FBI had huge incentives to hide Danchenko, although Danchenko told the FBI several lies in what Durham now describes was an attempt to reconcile what Danchenko had told Steele. The overarching message from Danchenko was that the dossier was untrue. This effectively ended any legitimate inquiry into the Trump-Russia collusion. Danchenko's disavowal also meant that the FBI's Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act FISA warrant against Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, which were issued based on the Steele Dossier, were effectively invalidated. Wow! It's almost like you should do something about that. Maybe he is though. Maybe he is. He's just, you know what? Hey, he's trusting the plan and he's just working on it in the background. Blah blah blah. Whatever. Not saying that this isn't, you know, anything of substance. It's just what's gonna end up happening with it ultimately. Like you see shit like this on a fucking daily basis. Nothing gets done with it. Okay. And even if something was to get done with it, what would end up happening? Cool. Some corrupt people would be replaced by some other corrupt people. Cool. Bet. Talk to me when you want to just get rid of the FBI. Timing of Danchenko's elevation to CHS status coincides with two major developments. First, in March 20th, 2017, then FBI Director James Comey told Congress that Trump campaign was under investigation for alleged ties to Russia. At the time, Comey knew that Danchenko had shredded the investigation's predicate, yet he chose to forge on regardless. Second, also in March 2017, Nunes found out that the whistleblower in the intelligence community that the Trump transition had been spied on. Nunes complained to Congress hadn't been given that information. No, because Hillary Clinton bleach bit that part of the investigation. As head of the House Intelligence Committee, Nunes immediately ratcheted up his own investigation into the Trump-Russia matter. That investigation would lead to a Nunes memo in February of 2018. However, the Nunes memo made no mention of Danchenko or the fact that he disavowed the dossier. Yeah, because he didn't know about that because the FBI was running cover for him. Makes sense. The FBI put Danchenko on the CHS payroll. He was completely off the grid, and any information about him was withheld from Congress under the sources and methods justification. The FBI's apparent scheme to bury Danchenko seems to have worked as they planned. Neither Nunes nor anyone else knew about Danchenko or his disavowal of the Steele Dossier until December of 2019. Where are we talking about it now in September of 2019, when Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz issued a report on the FBI's FISA abuses. Horowitz didn't disclose Danchenko's name and provided very little information other than that Steele had a primary subsource whose story differed from the one told by Steele himself. It wasn't until July of 2020 that a group of online sleuths, including myself, the author of this, who is this, my guy? Hans Machny. Good for you, my guy. Good for you. You just got to, I don't know, maybe you're a little bit too invested in this. You're a little bit too close to it. We're able to extrapolate Danchenko's name from various data points in Horowitz's report, as well as from heavily redacted interview notes published by Lindsey Graham. With the identification of Danchenko, any remaining credibility of the Steele dossier collapsed. It already collapsed because the entire predicate was Trump hired 2 Russian hookers to piss on a bed that the Obamas stayed on. Okay, cool. What does that have to do with anything? That means Trump's bad. Oh, Russia! Contrary to the FBI's claims, Danchenko wasn't a Russian-based source with access to the Kremlin insider. Yeah, it's kind of like what's going on in the media right now. Well, sources close to Putin say that he's practically fucking dead with all of his Parkinson's and cancer AIDS diagnosis. It's like, okay, cool. You continue to run those fluff pieces. Meanwhile, he's meeting with Erdogan, Modi, and Xi right now, forming the basis of a new fucking global superpower on the horizon. The CCP's game planning, Russia's resources, and the people of India. Put all of those motherfuckers together and then just slap on a bit of crazy from fucking Turkey's Erdogan. Yeah, man, you got a fucking crazy pot of power that's going to make NATO look fucking even more anemic than it already is. It appears that the sole purpose of making Danchenko a CHS was to conceal the FBI's malfeasance from Congress, from the FISA court, and from the public. That opens up new avenues for Durham to criminally pursue FBI officials. Okay, we'll get to that part. That'd be nice. These officials include former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, former head of counter-espionage Peter Strzok, and Danchenko's case against Brian Auten. Cool. A lot of former people that are in there, okay, because the head of the FBI right now is such an upstanding person. You know, the guy that authorized the move on Mar-a-Lago to, again, find something of what substance? It was thought that the statute of limitations for bringing charges against FBI's officials had lapsed earlier this year when 5 years had passed from the time the officials took their respective actions. However, it now appears that time limit has been extended because the FBI continued employing Danchenko under false pretenses until October 2020. Okay, that's interesting because I thought that all of the statutes of limitations had passed on most of this stuff. That gives Durham plenty of time to pursue FBI officials if he's so inclined. Well, you hopefully fucking do something, so something will come out from this cocksucking probe. Christ, it's been years at this point. Aside from the CHS revelations, Durham's new motion also sheds lights on the above-mentioned incident in which Barr disclosed that while Danchenko was employed by the Brookings Institute, he allegedly had approached 2 fellow employees and told them if they had access to classified information and wanted to make a little extra money, he knew some people to whom they could speak. Oh my God, the Clintons. It's also notable that Durham hasn't charged Danchenko with lying about the infamous P-tape story. Yeah, imagine that, huh? Figured out that he's being employed under false pretenses and just files a motion in limine. It's almost like there's nothing there. Don't get your fucking hopes up. The dossier claims that the story originated in June of 2016 in the senior Western employee at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow. However, Durham has now revealed that his office tracked down the only Western hotel employee at the time, a German national. Oh, according to Durham, that German national will testify at Danchenko's trial and that he never met Danchenko and had never heard the P-tape story until the media started reporting on the dossier in 2017. Manager's accounts is backed up by Charles Dolan, a political advisor with connections to Bill and Hillary Clinton. Oh, Dolan's definitely killing him. Not killing himself. Of course not. According to Durham, Dolan will testify at Danchenko's trial that he and Danchenko had traveled to Moscow in June of 2016, but that, unlike Dolan, Danchenko didn't stay at the Ritz-Carlton and didn't meet with the German hotel manager. Again, this is all going to be wild speculation, and it's a big if true, but okay. It's just amazing how slow these courts, because you're seeing a lot of numbers here and a lot of dates. 17, 16, 20 at best, and now we're finally getting around to it. But whenever they want to make a strike, okay, the Department of Justice wants to strike against other Republicans, certain Republicans, oh, they'll move on a fucking moment's notice. Let's see another stunning revelation before we punch out. Durham has now disclosed that in February of 2016, again, nice and timely, only a few months before his dossier work, Danchenko briefed the managing partner of a business intelligence firm on how to fabricate sources. Cool. According to Durham, Danchenko's advice to the partner was that if there were no sources, one should use oneself as a source. Oh, that's mass media's trick right now. Back in the day, okay, back in the old Edward R. Murrow days when you'd run 2 sources. Now it's just, well, I heard one thing and then I seen a Twitter clip on it and I just decided, fuck it, I'll just go ahead and retweet it, and that's like 2 sources, right? Or I heard Cindy talk about that in the newsroom because she was talking to Billy at the same time and she was saying, oh my God, did you hear that Trump was Hitler? And then I could write a headline that says sources say that Trump is literally fucking Hitler. Well, Durham's latest revelations are extremely damning for Danchenko, I guess. Okay, they are far more damning for the FBI, who appear to have perfiduously, there we go, used the CHS mechanism to take Danchenko off the grid. Off the grid? Yeah, I'm off the grid. My name is Igor Danchenko, and I live off the grid in Mexico. See, I had to become a CHS operative because the HARP system out there is controlling people's minds. Wake up, people. Hope he does that on the stand. That'll be funny as fuck. Worst of all, they did it in order to be able to continue with their efforts to take down then President Trump. Wow, the FBI was doing that stuff back in 2020. You should stop them before they go after then President Donald Trump. Wow, that'd be really sad if they did anything fucked up to him in 2022. Oh wait. Anyways, so yeah, that's the current progress on Durham's report. I don't know what's going to come out first, George R.R. Martin's next novel or this fucking abomination. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.